Okay, so thank you everyone for coming. We are here today with Farah Louis, City Council member for District 48, who's run. Oh, so let me introduce ourselves. Sorry, this is South Central Brooklyn United for Progress. This is our very last candidate interview of the 2021 City Council race season, and we're here today with Farah Louis, the City Council member for District 48, who's running for re-election. Her district comprises Flatbush, East Flatbush, Midwood, Marine Park, Flatlands, and Kensington, even a little bit of Kensington. Farah is the only incumbent in the city council races we've looked at. She won her seat in a special election in 2019 to replace now public advocate Jamani Williams. So council member, thank you so much for sitting down with us. Could you just take the next 5 minutes to I'm sorry, you're District 45. So my wife points out to me that I made a mistake. Okay. You're from District 45. All right, so anyway, thanks so much, Councilmember Louis. Could you take the next 5 minutes or less to tell us about yourself, what you've done, and what you hope to do if reelected?
Thank you so much, David. Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to thank you all for the opportunity to meet with you this afternoon. I'm Councilmember Farah Louis. I represent the 45th Council District in Brooklyn. I was elected in 2019 during a special Democratic primary and a general election. It was quite the year. However, I would say it was a coalition of people from my community, from diverse religions, backgrounds, cultures, civically engaged folks that all got together and wanted to support someone that was not only a problem solver, but solution oriented. And I believe that this is why I got elected. I got elected because the people in my community knew that I worked for a problem solver and they wanted to continue that legacy, but they wanted someone that was also solution oriented to deal with, manage, and tackle the issues that were happening in our community when it came to land use, when it came to housing, when it comes to small business and education. I am a proud Brooklynite, daughter of immigrants. I come from a pro-union household. I was a union member myself. I was a member of 1199 for 8 years. I come with a healthcare background, a background also in journalism and publicity and civic engagement and organizing. I'm running for re-election because there's so much more that we need to get done. I fought really hard to tackle some of the housing issues that are happening in our community, not on one side of the district, but all four corners. As you can see, there's just been a major, I would say, like, all the developments that are happening in our community, particularly in the CB17 area, have forced long-time Brooklynites that live in my district to be forced out. And we've worked really hard with the administration to ensure that they could prioritize projects that include community voices so that they can be involved in these conversations instead of pushing people out. We have projects that are being built right now in our district that the community asked for. We have a community center, which will be the first one within this district and in East Flatbush that will be built after fighting really hard with the administration to get over $60 million to put into this project. And there's so much more that we want to get done. We want to deal with the infrastructure of our local schools and also to ensure that we bounce back from COVID-19. We're in our recovery stage. And right now, my goal is to ensure that we bounce back and recover well. And I believe that I have a plan for that. And I hope my constituents understand how hard I work for them, my leadership, and where I could get us to next. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. That was actually exactly 5 minutes, so perfect time. Actually it was 4 and a little bit. So now we'll just open up the floor for questions from anyone. So if you have a question that you want to ask Councilmember Louis, just either use the Zoom raise your hand function or type it in the chat, and I will get to you. I'll start us off with a question. So I was wondering if you could expand a bit on your questionnaire answer. You answered our questionnaire about street safety. I was wondering specifically if there were any laws or resolutions that you voted to pass or that you want to see passed in the future. And that, you talk about safety protocols for different modes of transportation. I just wonder if you could add a little more detail of what you would see as like a for.
Are you saying school safety or traffic?
No, sorry, I'm saying traffic and pedestrian safety, things like that.
Tons of things. First and foremost, what I appreciate about the leaders in my community is that we're very much involved collectively. I know some of the folks that are part of Community Board 17 are on tonight. And one thing that we're working on is collectively is the expansion of bike lanes in our district and ensuring that DOT provides the right demarcations and updating signs for cyclists in our district. In addition, ensuring that homeowners can continue to keep their parking spaces at the same time. So it's working with all parts of our district to ensure that we're giving cyclists all the support that they need, ensuring that folks that have vehicles can continue to find parking spaces. And in addition to that, we know that part of the district is what we would consider like a transit desert. I've been working with NYU Wagner. They put together a really good project to see how we could expand the 4 train to come from Eastern Parkway all the way over to Kings Highway. So this is something that the council has been working on for a long time, but we know that there are additional things that we need to implement in our district so that we can address some of the transit issues. In addition to that, the minute I got into the council, I don't know if you all remember, but there was a crash right in front of Brooklyn College. I called for an emergency stakeholder meeting and it turned into a task force in the Midwood community, because we know that we need more speed cameras. We know that we need updated signs. We know that we need to upgrade some of the way that DOT has positioned some of the lightings over there for the pedestrians. So working in all capacities when it comes to addressing transit and traffic safety within the district.
Thank you very much for that. All right. I see we have a lot of audience questions, so I'll try to get to them in the order I saw them. Jess, you were the first person I saw with your hand up. So if you want to go ahead and ask.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm Jessica Byrne. I am the president, serving as the president of Community Education Council District 22. So I have an education question for you. And I did look over your questionnaire, so it'll be based off of that. You talked about fair student funding in the questionnaire. And given the time of year it is where they start to analyze which schools deserve more money, which schools are in the red, I'm wondering how you feel about amnesty for any schools in debt right now. I know that the city comptroller sent a letter to the chancellor's office asking for amnesty for schools that are in debt. I know other councils have passed resolutions. Our council is considering a resolution on calling for amnesty for schools that are in the red right now. Tomorrow actually is our meeting. So I'm wondering what your position is on that and if you support amnesty for schools that are in debt during the pandemic.
Definitely support it. It's a conversation that we've been having within the Black, Latino, Asian caucus. A lot of the schools that are in debt have a large population of Black and Brown students. So it's something that we support collectively. We're looking to see what the administration is thinking about when it comes to supporting some of these schools, but we're also going to be providing recommendations as well during the preliminary budget process, which actually starts tomorrow. For me, during my 1.5 years that I've been here, that's all I've been trying to do, making sure that I support my local schools. We've been talking about the digital divide before the pandemic. We've been talking about providing resources to students and to principals so that they can continue to operate effectively before the pandemic. So the pandemic has definitely put a dent in their budget, has definitely changed the direction in how schools are being managed and the resources that they do get. So fully in support of it, and we'll be working hard to make sure that we fight for it in the next budget.
Great, thank you. Next, I saw Matt Nizanoff with his hand up. So, Matt, you can go ahead.
Thank you very much. Thank you, council member, for speaking with us tonight. My question is, what is your view of the Brooklyn Democratic Party?
Thanks for that question, Matt. Being that the Democratic Party is, it went through a transition last year, I think there are definitely some things that need to be changed. I do believe that the current party leader is working on making sure all voices are heard. and implementing, I would say, policies, initiatives to ensure that everyone feels supported. But this is a new leader. This is a new position, and there's much more work to be done, and we have to give that person and her team that time to make those changes. There are definitely things that I agree with and a whole lot that I don't agree with. But where I am right now is give folks time to make the changes that they need. And if they're not made, then we need to be vocal about what needs to be changed.
Okay, thank you very much for that answer. Matt, is that good? Okay. Next, I saw Steve Cohen with his hand raised. Steve, you can go and ask your question.
Hi, Councilmember Lewis. I have, I guess, a question, maybe a two-part question related to the proposed homeless shelter that was in the news lately that I know you were aware of, because you talked about it at Community Board 14. So just so everyone knows, there's a proposed shelter that may be coming to Farragut and Kenilworth in the district. So I guess first, I know when the project was disclosed, you had said there were, you were a little concerned because the operator of the proposed shelter has some other sites in the district or nearby that there have been issues that have been brought to your office's attention. So I guess one question is, has anything been done to try to resolve those issues? And have there been any updates in that regard? And I guess the second part of the question is, assuming that the shelter is going to come in, as far as I know, it's in contract. What can your office, what can the community do to make that a smooth transition as you see it?
Thanks, Steve, for the question. The executive director of CAMBA, I believe her name is Joanne, did reach out to me about 2 weeks ago. She's looking for an opportunity to have a conversation about the alternate sites that I've been very vocal about in the press and at community meetings. We should be meeting up fairly soon. She does want to be involved in ensuring that she can address any issues that the schools have and the LGBT community has regarding those two sites. So I await that meeting, and we'll share with her the concerns that came to my office and the support that we've provided both to the principal and the director at the LGBT Center on Flatbush. The LGBT Center on Flatbush is not in my district, but the folks that go to that center for support live in my district. So I'm very much involved, whether if it's in somebody else's district or not, I'm gonna be very involved and very vocal, and we'll share with her those concerns. Regarding the shelter on Kenilworth, when it came to my attention that they would be building this CAMBA family shelter, they call it, the reason why I raised concern is because in Councilmember Ampry Samuel's district, there's a CAMBA there that they're trying to get rid of. And in Councilmember Barron's district, there's a CAMBA there they're trying to get rid of. And I've had walkthrough at both locations, and my experience and other members' experience with CAMBA is that they're not good neighbors. They're not good service providers. So for us, we have made recommendations to the landlord. One, to ensure that we can find an organization that would come in and allow the CUNY students to come back to the school. I would say there's a percentage, and I don't want to give the wrong number, but from what I'm hearing in the hearings at City Council, there's a large number of CUNY students that were living at that residence hall who are now in shelter in Brooklyn and in the Bronx. So we would want those students to have access to a place that they know, that they feel comfortable. Second, the recommendation we also gave was to provide senior housing. Instead of making it a family shelter from families that live in other areas in New York City, they could create a senior housing facility or a senior supportive housing, which they are actually open to. It's just finding the right organization to come in. We're still waiting. We know that there was an acquisition made. I know that they're willing to pull back if they have the right organization that's willing to come in and support both the landlord's needs, because I know he wants to make money, as well as the community's needs. Before any drill goes into a wall or anything goes into the floor, they have to have a conversation with all of us. And that's where I am. And Steve, I've been very vocal about this at community board, and I will continue to be. I don't think anyone should sign any paperwork, and no one should start construction without those conversations happening with the community. So I hope to update you all soon. We're waiting on Commissioner Banks to get back to us. I know that he has other organizations that he's seeking to bring before you all to ensure that they are the right organization to work with the community.
Okay, thank you very much for that answer. We have time for one more question, I think. Is that right? Okay. Joan Bakiruddin, you were the next person in line.
Thank you so much, David. Council member, thank you so much for meeting with us today. So I'll be brief. You started talking about the seniors, and that's the question that I seek to elevate today. And that is about resources for seniors as it pertains to aging in place. What is your vision for the seniors in the 45th Council District as they age in place?
First things first, we want to create a program under DFTA that can support estate planning. During COVID, I was asked to vote on a bill that would remove an exemption from 800 seniors that are homeowners. Of the 800, they said 500 are actually on the Social Security list as deceased. The remaining 300 have 25 people that live within our district whose exemptions will be pulled for them if I voted. And I decided not to vote for it. Because although 25 is a small number, these are 25 folks who may not have estate planning, who may not have the support. And you and I both know that there's seniors in our district that need the additional support. And without your intervention, NYPD and other community leaders, they would be alone. So for us, we know that DFTA needs to do a better job at providing estate planning, ensuring that there's real wellness checks. I don't believe it should be a council member tagging on a community board member to do 95 wellness checks. They need to provide funding to local nonprofit organizations to do daily wellness checks, Monday through Sunday, and then provide a report both to all elected officials' offices and back to DFTA to ensure that these seniors have what they need. There's so many components to this, but estate planning is so important. Ensuring that we're giving those wellness checks so that we know who's still in the home, who needs some type of health aid, who needs extra support. Do they know where their families are? There's so much to be done during this pandemic that we're learning about seniors, and we're putting those things in place. We're trying to draft some legislation now based off one of the cases that you and I have both worked on. And I look forward to updating you all on what we're doing about that. Also, the Department of Finance, making sure that they're prioritizing seniors within all districts within the city to make sure that if they need an exemption, if they need particular things, that they have support from the Department of Finance and the right representatives from organizations to make sure that they're up to date on everything so that they don't lose assistance.
Okay, thank you so much, Councilwoman.
Thank you.
We're running right at our time. So I'm just going to, once again, thank everyone for coming and participating in this. We are, sorry about that. If the questionnaire that we referred to today is up on our website, scbkunitedforprogress.com. And this interview will also be posted there along with our YouTube channel and our Facebook page. We are having a special meeting in about 1 week on Sunday, March 7th, is the current month, at I believe 6 p.m. We should have that information out on our social media, and it will and we'll be sure to advertise that as well to vote on whether we decide to endorse in this race. And just thank everyone who has helped us throughout this process.
Thank you everyone for your time. I appreciate it. Stay safe, stay blessed, and see you all soon.
Have a wonderful night, everyone.
Take good care.
Thank you so much.